Hey everybody, welcome to the channel and let's get straight right into this. So now, we've been having this debate for decades, and yes, I know you guys see the headline, Tripping in the Bronze Age, but now, let me be actually a little bit critical now, because we know the Bronze Age was around 3100 all the way to 1300 BCE, so just want to throw that out, and it's always been speculated in numerous texts if the ancients ever used psychedelics when it came to the ritual rites. And now, finally, ladies and gentlemen, we can put this to rest. Because, yes, in this article that we found from New York Times, like I say, I always share my articles, we have evidence now showing that, yes, they did actually use this. So, this is crazy because, like I said, a lot of people speculated about this, and this is before Jesus. Remember, before the New Testament was even here, and the Old Testament. So, just want to point that out, that people were using psychedelics to have a connection with the mystical world, as you would put it. But so, anywho, let's get straight right into it. A new study based on strands of hair found in a Spanish burial cave reveals that humans living about 3,000 years ago used hallucinogens likely derived from local plants as part of their rituals. And as you see here, this is actually the strand that they found and actually used. So let's get right into here. Bronze Age humans have been credited with a number of civilizational advancements. The invention of irrigation, the wheel, even the writing system, and the ability to forge weapons and tools from the durable metal that lends the era its name. Now, strands of human hair discovered in an ancient burial cave in Spain suggest another novelty, a proclivity of consuming psychoactive drugs, as I explained to you in the beginning. The hair found inside of wooden containers hidden deep within a sealed grotto on Minorca, an island off the coast of eastern Spain, tested positive for a number of mind-altering compounds. So not only was it just one, it was plural, so numeral people. So it's not just a coincidence that, oh, maybe there is just one found. No, numerous. So just really wanted to point that out to you guys. Suggesting that the people who lived there 3,000 years ago incorporated hallucinogenic experience into the rituals of their lives. The findings published Thursday in the scientific report of the Journal of Nature provided the first direct evidence. Remember, that ancient Europeans consumed psychoactive drugs, most likely their Colombian brethren in Mesoamerica, the researchers said. Elsa Doris, as I show you a picture here, the lead author of the study, said researchers were stunned by the results. I don't know why they were stunned. I mean, if you did some research, we all kind of guessed to this. I mean, look at the arts and the depictions, especially to the Egyptians. Let me just keep going though here. Especially because the cave interiors yielded no detectable signs of the drug's presence. A chemical analysis of their hair revealed evidence of 3 alkaloid substances known to produce altered states of consciousness. The first was ephedrine, the second atropine, and the third scopolamine. The compounds themselves are produced by flora natives to Minorca. Atropine and scopolamine, powerful hallucinogens, can be found in plants in the nightshade family, among them mandrake, henbane, and thornapple. Ephedrine and a stimulant can be extracted from joint pine. These findings are so singular, says Ms. Doc, an expert in the anthropology of intoxication at the University of Valladolid in Spain. Sometimes, when people think about drugs, they think it's a modern practice. These results tell us a different story. Yes, it does, because here in the West, well, most of the world too, we get a countries when it comes to drugs, and especially hallucinogens. But you've seen that actually mushrooms and other drugs are actually aiding the help of PTSD, as you see here. So I think we get a misconception when it comes to some mind-altering drugs. It's because we don't have the backing to actually do the research as how they're classified for certain drugs, as in marijuana is a class drug, so we don't get enough research can be conducted on it. But we are now, but slowly, but not as much as we should be. But yeah, let me continue. Ms. Grudag said that the way the compounds were distributed through each hair strand suggests the drugs were consumed over the period of a year and well before death. And here's a thorn apple plant in Spain. The powerful hallucinogens, atropine, and scopamine are found in plants in the nightshade, as here talked about earlier. Let's continue. The cave S. Carice was discovered by spelunkers in 1995 and held the remains of more than 200 people who have been laid to rest over the course of 6 centuries when the latest burial in roughly 800 BCE. Many were related across multiple generations. Curiously, the cave did not contain the bodies of pregnant women or babies. Good sign for that. I'll continue here. For anthropologists, the cave's most significant treasure were the tubular boxes, mostly wooden but some made of an antler, that held tuffets of hair dried red. The boxes and their contents survived in a large part because the cave's opening, more than 80 feet beneath the upper ledge of a 300-foot long gorge, had been sealed off by the rowboat that had collapsed long ago. Says here, although there is no way to know why these ancient people were consuming such powerful drugs, as I just said, we all know it's to have a connection with the macrocosm, macrocosm. If you've been watching my videos, you know what I always explain to you: as above, so below; as within, so without. So they were trying to reach a stimulated mind to connect with the all. But let's continue. Know that the box of patterns that the present-day humans might interpret as psychedelic inspired. A series of concentric circles suggesting the hypnotic bull's-eye drawing of yore. Ancient humans are thought to have used drugs, plants, for both medicinal purposes and religious ceremonies, as I explained earlier. But until now, much of the scholarship has been based on indirect evidence such as pottery vessels, smoking pipes, or plant residue from opium, poppies, or cannabis found at archaeological sites across Eurasia. And yes, if you know about, there was actually cocaine residue found in one of the Egypt tombs. Look it up. I promise after probably during this video I'll put it up for you. But look this up, ladies and gentlemen. This is no way. And they only could access this in South America. So now if they're in Egypt and this stuff is in South America, how did they get it? Riddle me this, Batman. But hey, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy here now. But I'll continue here. Georges Mir, an Italian ethnobotanist, I butcher that, who specializes in the archaeology of psychoactive plants and who was not involved in the study, said he was exhilarated by the findings. He said they added to a growing body of evidence suggesting that hallucinogens were an integral part of ancient societies worldwide. And before I continue, I'm sorry to say it, but if you do your research like I have in my channel, you'll know that hallucinogens played a big part to each culture, to the Egyptians, to the Greeks, and to the Romans, and to the Persians. All the cultures were doing this. So I want to put this out. This is a fact, ladies and gentlemen, when you do the research. Especially with the Egyptians. If you know about the blue lotus, there is psychoactive elements in the blue lotus. And we see the blue lotus being portrayed in many arts on the walls when it comes to the Egyptians. So this is everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Just wanted to point this out to you. But I am glad that we have actual proof. We have books, but now we have concrete evidence showing that these practices and these hallucinogens were intertwined together. So that's really a good thing. He said the text finds that the drugs were consumed as part of religious ritual. This is not a profane purpose of searching for a high. I believe. I disagree on him on this. I think it was a connection to the high. So for my personal research, I believe it's from there. So I disagree on him on that. But more generally, the search extensional meaning that has been largely lost to time, he said in an email, because the strands lacked hair bulbs, scientists were unable to do a DNA analysis that would allow them to determine the sex of those who had consumed the compounds. The three compounds have a long history of human use. Aphrodite is a stimulant that provides bursts of energy and mental clarity, and it can stave off sleepiness. Atropine and scopolamine are powerful deliriums that can produce hallucinations and out-of-body experiences. In higher concentrations, atropine can lead to the respiratory failure, paralysis, and death. Although impossible to know for sure, Ms. Grua Deuce said the presence of these drugs suggests that the people who used them were guided by someone, perhaps a shaman. That's good that they brought this to the article. I'm going to touch upon it in a second. Who understand their powers. There is so much more we need to learn, she said. So now, as reading at this, there is no debate. They did use this, and it was hallucinogens were intertwined in these societies. And now I wanted to point out when she talked about the shamans. You got to understand this, people. As they said earlier, these drugs and these plants with these compounds, if you go too far and you put too much, you can end up killing people. So that means these people were the original doctors, an original practitioner. And these people had to, I'll say it right now, trial and error. And if they got this right, they would know the certain amount of dosage to give to them, to these people, to produce this altering state without going too far. So people, this is science on a molecular level. Like, they had to go find these plants. Remember now, find these plants, test them out, test out the certain amount that that a person can physically take, and then provide it all. Like, look at the time that they said that this was even found. 800 BC, if we go back. 800 BC. That's just crazy to think about that these people were doing this. And remember, the late Bronze Age, writing was being done also. So now when you think about this, all this innovation was going on during the early Bronze Age, and you're seeing now that they're saying that psychedelics were a major part of it. And I'll say this now, I feel like the psychedelics helped out with the inventions that were being produced and the writing that was going on around the late Bronze Age. It has to, because as it explains, this was intertwined in their society. And I feel like this altered state of mind, they were able to find some type of connection. And if you read this book, The Cosmic Serpent and the Origins of Knowledge by Jeremy Nierbe, this is a great read, ladies and gentlemen. He talks about these shamans and these Native Americans using hallucinogens, and that their psychedelic experience made them talk to these entities and actually give them information. And it's crazy. I know it sounds a little spooky, or like, oh, past president, what are you doing, man? You're going crazy. But no, there's some merit into this, and I would really recommend this book if you want to dive deeper when it comes to hallucinogens and the out-of-body experience, and actually these people getting some type of information through these state of mind. Nikola Tesla, for instance, was in this type of state of mind where he said he got these visions about the numbers, the 369, if you know about Nikola Tesla. So there's something about these out-of-body experiences with psychedelics, using it the right way, of course, as they explain, because if you use too much, you're going to like overdose or hurt yourself. But there's something about them that there's a connection to us. And I will be making a more in-depth video when it comes to this, but I'm glad that this article came out so people can really see that there was a connection to psychedelics and rituals and spirituality back in the days. So again, don't want to make this too long, but just want to show you this article. And yeah, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about hallucinogens being a big major component with the ancients? Because it had to be for me. But let's talk in the comment section. But anywho, I'll see you guys on the next video. I have a lot of videos out. Please see my other videos. I just did one concerning the illusion mysteries. I got the Egyptian mysteries coming soon. Just got to get a lot of info. But anywho, thank you all for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you all on the next one. All right, guys. Cheers.